All right, everybody, welcome back to episode 7, because guess what? We do not fail. We do not flourish. Wait, we do flourish. Crap.
Wow.
We do.
Hey, if anyone knows a speech pathologist, please.
Therapist?
No, speech pathologist.
A speech pathologist. I think you need one.
I definitely need one. I think everyone listening to this knows I need one.
Yeah, true.
But
That's
you
true.
definitely need one.
Okay, we'll go together.
Okay.
Maybe like couples counseling, but different.
Couple speech.
Speech impediment therapy for couples that are not counseling together.
It's just sad.
Did you hear that door?
Yeah.
Someone just closed the bathroom door hard.
Someone's trying to come in and bust into the door.
Trying to record a podcast in here. Gosh. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to ask you a question, okay? Favorite movie franchise of all time?
Oh.
No, but listen.
Whoa, wait.
Not TV
that's
show.
so hard.
No, not TV show.
Okay. Movie
So it's
franchise.
films that are more than, let's say, any films that are more than 2. I don't know what it actually technically a franchise is, but
Oh boy.
so this could be Star Wars, Lord of the Rings,
Okay, it's
Marvel,
definitely not
like
Star Wars. It's
Hunger Games, like there's
it's
tons.
not Lord of the Rings. Listen, I know. We're gonna talk about it later. Okay, we're gonna talk about it in just a minute. But it's just simply because one, I need to rewatch the Lord of the Rings. Okay.
So you think you just don't remember it? Maybe?
I do remember it, but just like bits and pieces.
Okay.
I haven't watched them in several years, like the movies.
Yeah.
And so, okay, I'm just gonna say this. If all of the movies were done in the very early 2000s, it just automatically can't be my favorite.
Really?
If they would have kept going with it, okay, just like
The Hobbits are like
okay, but I never got into the Hobbits.
okay, they're not as good as the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, okay.
But you know what's impressive about that? The Lord of the Rings was so groundbreaking on like every level.
Yes, I will.
Like
agree
it
with
does
that.
not look like
I
it was
will agree
made
with
back
that.
then.
Listen, I do think the grand scale of the Lord of the Rings is incredible. Like just everything how they did the whole entire production and just listening to videos of what they did, how they got all the orc sounds, all of that kind of stuff is pretty amazing. And so I will say like that's amazing. And I also love the message that it portrays too.
Yeah.
So
well, Tolkien's a genius. Yeah.
So I do like that, but it's not my favorite. I don't.
Okay.
My favorite is so
I'll punch
hard.
you later, but
the actual favorite is so hard. Just like listing your favorite song, like it's just almost impossible. But
yeah, it's true.
If I had gun to my head, had to choose, probably it probably has to just be the Marvel,
the MCU.
the MCU phase 1 through 4.
Yeah, Endgame it was good until after Endgame it went downhill.
Yeah. After Endgame, it obviously is not good, but it's gonna be
It could
a
be
very
revived.
epic comeback. Yeah, I think I know it will.
Okay.
Simply because
Well, the Avengers ones, yeah.
Yes.
That's
the
true.
Russo brothers are coming back.
That's
so,
true. They just make hits after hits. That's
yeah.
all they
This
do.
is okay. My brother sent me this podcast video of these people talking about
The Marvel bleeps?
the Marvel stuff and how it just was so bad after Endgame. But now, this is what I've always said from the beginning: the Russo brothers should just do every single Marvel movie, and then they would never miss.
I know. Literally
Every single Marvel movie that the Russo brothers have done have just been amazing.
I know. This is what I think. If they had the Russo brothers like as top staff as like Kevin Feige, so like you have Kevin Feige who's been like the father of the MCU of MCU. Yeah. And then you had the Russo brothers under him directing all the films. You literally I will say that probably to them would get boring because they probably don't have the same kind of passion for it that
exactly.
that he does.
It would probably get old just doing like the exact same thing every
But their
time.
movies like The Winter Soldier, Civil War, both the Infinity War and Endgame. Those are the 4 best movies.
Yeah, they literally are. Yeah, and so
in my opinion,
and the fact that the Russo brothers are doing 2 more Avengers, and they brought back Robert Downey Jr. Okay.
I don't know how I feel about that, but
after Deadpool Wolverine, it opens up so much for the MCU, and I feel like they're scrapping the whole Kang dynasty and everything that came before then. There's no Eternals 2. Like everything basically that was just a flop, like they're just getting rid of.
Right.
And so I feel like Kevin Feige's like, okay, we're not going to have a failure like this after we had such like 10 great years plus of movies and just leading up to Endgame, and it's just like it became like the best movie ever basically. And so that's why it's my favorite.
Okay. It's so much set up to it.
Another ones that like tops would definitely be the James Bond series, starting with Daniel Craig. Before that, the whatever his name, Brosnan or whatever.
Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah, Pierce Brosnan. No, I mean, no hate, but those were way too old, and I didn't grow up on those.
So you just don't like old movies.
And so, I don't.
That's
I mean, that could be
I like
true.
classic movies.
I don't like. Okay, The first. Also
Top Gun.
I never watched Top Gun 1.
Me neither.
But I watched Top Gun 2.
Oh,
Top Gun Maverick. That I had no idea. Like I had zero expectations.
It's so good.
I never saw the first one, and the second one was absolutely amazing.
Dude, it's so good.
The ending scene, like the ending 45 minutes, 30 minutes was so intense. Like I had no
Excuse
idea.
me.
I had no idea what the heck was gonna happen. And they're just like, it just kept going and going. And I think that just speaks to Tom Cruise. Like he's just such a beast.
Or Mission Impossible.
Okay, yeah. That's another franchise that I absolutely love. One of my favorites of all time. Mission Impossible. Yes. Oh, it's so good. My brother Josh and we talk about it all the time.
That is a really good franchise.
It is amazing.
Do you know what's interesting? Sorry to interrupt.
No,
you know what's interesting about that? Is okay, so like that franchise has been going on forever, right? They're like on number 10 soon, literally. Like coming out next year or something. Yeah. And you have franchises like the Fast and Furious, which just get like literally they're like a hot piece of garbage. Like the first 4, they're pretty good. And they just go down. I will say I did enjoy Hobbs and Shaw.
Hobbs and Shaw is the only one.
It's a fun one.
I agree.
Okay,
but I agree. That one I love.
Even though it's ridiculous, it's still stupid. But like it's good.
Yeah.
But the Mission Impossible movies to me are not like the repetitiveness. Like they do something different each time. And of course, like you always have like they're about to die and it's like 1 second on the clock. Like that's the same. But I feel like each movie feels different.
Like every superhero movie ever, or like not even superhero, just like every action movie ever. Like it,
John Wick.
You have to, and that's another one.
John Wick's not your favorite?
It's not my favorite, but it's one of my favorites. I wasn't even there yet. John Wick for sure, one of my favorite franchises.
John Wick's gotta be probably number 2, maybe.
Yeah, I don't. Okay, this will say John Wick, James Bond, and Mission Impossible. I think I like John Wick and Mission Impossible a little bit more than the James Bond series. Okay. So, but John Wick and the Mission Impossible, so those are tied. I don't know which ones I like more because they're both amazing.
Okay, for me, I'll say The Lord of the Rings is unbeatable. I don't think there's ever, I will say, technicality wise, like I was saying, like Lord of the Rings was just so groundbreaking. I think the Avatar franchise is on the same level of groundbreaking for like today, like the way what they're doing with those movies, like, and it takes them like 5 years to make a movie, like it's nuts. So like I genuinely like I enjoy the Avatar movies, but they're not like the story is the same to me.
I never got into the Avatars. Yeah. Like I've seen them. I never watched the newest.
Sorry, the second one, The Way of Water.
Yeah,
that is good.
I never watched it. And listen, I
better
agree.
than the first.
In
my opinion,
I think they would be like they are good movies. It's just not what I'm like super.
So the first Avatar is the only movie to beat Endgame.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, by the way, I think that's so totally rigged, or not rigged, but it's such a scam because they only re-released Avatar out in the foreign worldwide like market one time after Endgame had beat their record just so they could beat them again.
Oh, really?
Literally.
Oh, okay,
that's the only reason. Because Endgame had pulled in front and they were the highest grossing of like movie of all time of like 3.1 billion.
If they re-release Endgame right now, it would create like almost another billion probably.
They should and beat freaking Avatar.
Okay, talking about re-releases. Interstellar is coming on re-release this fall. We
should see that in IMAX.
We're going in IMAX. That's Interstellar is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's not a franchise,
I can vouch
obviously.
for that for him.
It's definitely one of my favorite movies. All of Christopher Nolan films. Okay, speaking of trilogies though, which would be Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and Dark Knight Rises. That's one of my favorite series for sure.
Favorite franchises?
So it's 3 of them.
Yeah.
So and it's just simply because of Christopher Nolan and the fact that we have 2 of the greatest villains of all time
from those.
Yeah,
I will say
Joker and the Bane. So
to me, I didn't like Bane as much as Joker. I think Joker was way better.
Joker's my favorite. Yeah, for sure.
I will say awesome. I don't think there's like split opinions on this, but I think the new Batman's revamp, I genuinely like it.
Oh, I like it too.
Like I think he's a better Batman than Christian Bale, but he's not a better Bruce Wayne. That's my opinion. He's a better Batman.
So different. Yeah, it's so hard to compare them because the way that they portray Robert Pattinson in the new Batman, he's like Batman 24/7. Like you just don't. Yeah, and you just don't like see him as Bruce Wayne.
But I think the second one that's coming out next Christmas is going to be.
Yeah, I'm excited. I liked it. The wild thing about the new Batman, if you watched it with one light on, you wouldn't be able to see the screen.
It is so dark.
You have to watch it.
We watched it together.
In theaters.
With Caitlin and Ashton.
You have to watch it with zero light, or else you won't be able to see.
That's true.
Yeah. I did love it. It was a really good.
Well, okay, so those are your favorites. I would say Lord of the Rings, and then either John Wick or I'm blanking right now. What was it?
Blue's Clues.
Yes, but that's a TV show. I can't count that. I would say John Wick or maybe the MCU. It depends. Anyways, I'll just say my favorite of all time is Lord of the Rings. Okay. I just think that's unbeatable. And I will hold that opinion.
That was going to be
also, my sweater's on backwards, so you guys can see what our back logo looks like. If you want these sweatshirts, we should charge them what, $2,000?
Yeah.
Okay. If you want it, $1,000 cash, and I'll make it for you.
We'll make it.
Me and my wife.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
shout out Ashton.
Shout out my shawty.
Whoa. All right. Let's not get too intimate on this podcast.
Anyways, okay.
That was scary.
So
yeah, we're gonna bring it back because I had just watched Rings of Power.
We talked about it last.
Yeah, we talked about it last podcast, and so we just wanted to save it kind of for this podcast. We were talking a lot about movies, and so I was just gonna give my thoughts, and we're just gonna talk a little bit about it on how what we thought about it because I finished season 1 like a couple days ago. And then I just watched the first episode of season 2 last night. And so I texted Levi, I said, season 1 finale, I just did not like at all. It was so anticlimactic. And I understand probably why. It's just to simply like bring in the new season. Yeah. Like it's set up a lot for the new season.
Right.
But like as a season finale, you're like, oh, that was it. But I understand why.
Yeah.
Like, and so it honestly wasn't that bad because I waited until season 2 was already out so I could just go right into it. But if I had to wait, 2 years like everyone else did after season 1, that would be sad. And so I understand that. But what I'm trying to understand is, okay, in the back of my mind, I'm having Lord of the Rings the whole entire time in the back of my mind of like Legolas and all these different characters. I'm like
the good ones.
Yeah, I forget the main dwarf's name and the
Gimli.
Yeah, okay. So like who are these all people? Like when do they come into picture? If they even do. I have no idea if they do. I'm only on episode 2
They probably won't.
And so because like
this is the second age.
It's so far before.
Yeah.
And when does the Lord of the Rings take place?
Okay, so it takes place during the third age. That one, I think it's literally like 1 to 2,000 years.
Okay.
After what is happening right now.
That's wild.
If I'm remembering right. So basically to explain, the Rings of Power are based off the appendices of the.
Wait. Which means what?
It's basically like it's like a preface or preface. However you say that word. Yeah. But like so in the Lord of the Rings book, there's a whole section that gives a little bit of history, kind of background of the Second Age to like give you kind of some history on stuff what's happening before the Lord of the Rings happens. Well, that's the rights that Amazon bought. Okay. So they can only make stuff from that, but there's not really a whole lot in it. There's some good history in it, but to actually really go into it, they'd have to go from the Silmarillion, which that book is actually like the whole history of like the Second Age, and they could have made a really good show if they did that. I personally
have you read that book?
I'm like halfway through the Silmarillion.
Oh, okay.
But from like what I've seen from the shows, it is so inaccurate to the books. Not just like little details. It's things like, okay, this is a spoiler if you haven't seen the first episode of season 2. But there's this whole thing like Sauron makes the 3 elven rings, right? Well, the elves use them and do good with them, and they're not
because technically Sauron is the guy,
right? But he didn't actually make them. Celebrimbor did. Okay, so
what's his name's dad, right?
Who's dad?
The one elf. Well, I forget his name. Yeah.
That's not his dad. That's just like a mentor to him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, they kind of look alike.
Yeah, they actually do. They really do. They're not related.
Okay.
Anyways, so Elrond is like a lord or whatever in the Elven Kingdom.
Yeah.
But then he goes on this thing like he's like, no, Sauron had his hand in it, so there must be corrupted. And like they're going through this whole thing.
Yeah.
In the books, all 3 of them take the rings and they do good with them. Like, and they do kind of show them how they're healing the land and stuff. Like they did do that with their rings.
Even including Sauron in the books?
What do you mean? Sauron didn't fully corrupt the 3 elven rings. Like those ones they were used. Like in Lord of the Rings.
Right.
And in the Hobbits, the 3 elven lords Galadriel, Elrond, and the High King all still have their rings.
Oh. Okay.
So like they're still using them.
Oh, okay. In the movies?
In the movies, you can see them. Like they were in the Hobbits. They even mentioned them.
This is why I need to rewatch the movies.
Yeah. Now, by the way, I'm not like the biggest Lord of the Rings nerd, so I have some facts that probably aren't exact, but I know some of this stuff.
Yeah.
And they, it's like that's often like Elrond's like I must destroy the rings, like in the Lord of the Rings movies.
Yeah.
So he like tries to go destroy the 3 elven rings. Like Elrond never did that. Like there's just like stuff like that story plot that's like
Elrond never did that.
No, he was like in on it. Basically, they were like, yeah, we're gonna use these rings for good.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. I will say like if you're gonna watch it and you're a fan of Lord of the Rings, and if you haven't watched it yet, you're not really missing out on a whole lot. I will say, cinematically, it is beautiful to watch. It's such well done that way. Like really good. The CG is amazing. Like all that.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
Don't watch it as like, oh, this is part of the Lord of the Rings universe. Like think of it like, oh, someone just made like a show that's based. Almost like when they say this is based on a true story. Just think of it that way when you're watching it. Yeah. Don't try to connect it because they do so much off with it, in my opinion. Like it's just like there's a lot that's wrong with it. So for me to even be able to enjoy it, like last night we were watching like episode 2 or whatever, and I was telling Ashton and I was like, I am so mad. I cannot watch it and think this is part because like nothing is right.
That's why I'm glad that I don't read books because the movies just get ruined.
Okay, but
kind of.
But the Lord of the Rings, even the hardcore book like fans, like most people like say the movies are never as good as the book. Most people say the movies were better than the book because they like edited the right parts out that were like unessential to the story and boring.
Yeah,
and
which is wild because they're such long movies. Like they already have
books like this thick.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like I think that's also why that I need to rewatch the Lord of the Rings movies because I watched them when I was obviously younger, and there was a lot of like not downtime, but yet like just like story plot building that I wouldn't appreciate back then as I would now.
Yeah,
and so like
you should watch them for sure.
Like you have to have that to build up, to everything. And so obviously like
100%.
Just the whole fight scenes, just the, like I said, the broad scope and the scale of everything is just so awesome in the movies. And so I can appreciate that too in the show, even though some of the episodes are definitely slow and I don't know why. Like, okay.
It's just not a great show.
I will say I forget what they're called. The Harfoots.
Yeah.
Okay.
The pre-hobbits.
Yeah. I just don't really like watching those scenes. Like they're not my favorite.
Well, and the dwarf scenes aren't great too.
Yeah, no, there's just like there's nothing for them. Like it's just you just see them and then they argue and get mad and then somehow they like it just doesn't make sense. I did enjoy like the whole between the girl, I forget her name.
Galadriel?
Galadriel or whatever. Her and her whole journey and then battling with the orcs and stuff. I liked that. But the whole the dwarves and the Harfoots, I'm just not a huge fan of.
But see, even the thing about that is Galadriel's character, she is so not what Galadriel. So they're acting like almost like Galadriel's in like her teenage phase, like this rebellious, like like that. Okay, friggin' if you watch The Lord of the Rings, it's not like elves just like go through like this puberty thing and then all of a sudden figure out like they have their emotions and stuff. Like they're showing The Lord of the Rings. Like she's supposed to be a younger Galadriel. She would have acted almost the exact same as she did in Lord of the Rings. But in this one, she's like not even Galadriel. Like that's even a big part. Now I think the actor is she's a good choice, like looks wise and stuff, but like she looks pretty similar.
Yeah.
But the way she acts, this is so not.
I didn't even realize she's actually in the Lord of the Rings movies.
Okay, you remember the blonde elf that gives him like the gifts, and she's like, she talks like this,
kind of. So I need to
Kate Blanchett, if I can say her name.
Oh yeah, no.
Okay. Anyways, that is she's supposed to be her.
Oh wow. Okay.
That's why
because elves like barely age, right?
Okay, I will say one thing I love about the show. They got Sauron. I think they did really good with him.
Really?
Because something I love about him, I hate how they try to make the orcs sympathetic. That's so stupid. Okay, they're just evil. Like they're trying to make you feel for them. It's stupid.
Oh, how he says, "Oh no,"
like the Adar, who's like their father, trying to help. Like that's so stupid. Okay, that whole part's idiotic. But the part where Sauron pretends to sympathize and is like so just evil, like you watched episode 1 already.
Yeah, in the very beginning.
Remember when he with a black tongue immediately trains the wolf. The warg, and then he sets him free, and then goes out, and then the wolf kills that guy. Just all the manipulation and stuff he does, that part. And I think the guy who plays the actor, I think he's a really good Sauron, in my opinion. I think he does well.
That's good. See, I don't know enough about Sauron and like just him. Like I'm just watching it basically with no knowledge at all.
Well, you only in the movies you only see him for like 2 seconds in like the prologue of like the first Lord of the Rings. And see him like in his big black like metal suit, and like he cuts out the Isildur, cuts his hand off. Remember that whole thing, and then he gets the ring.
Yeah, kind of.
You need to watch him again.
I know. I need to watch him again because I'm trying to figure out because he's like basically this huge figure.
So okay, we should watch him together. We should watch him together, and then you can ask me questions about like.
Yeah, we'll have to do that.
They're really good. They're so good. But, anyways, I will say, like, you can enjoy it from, like, a technical standpoint, for sure. Like, there's so much, like, the music, like, the cinematography, like, everything's really good. Even the acting's good. It's just, I don't think they're portraying the characters right. But But besides that, like, you'll be disappointed if you're going into it and like trying to make this fit into the Lord of the Rings. That's my take on it.
Yeah. Okay. I could see that for sure.
So, and I was so excited because the trailer literally looked so good. And I was like, dude, I texted my family group chat. I was like, they fixed so many, it looks like they fixed so many things from season 1.
Season 2, yeah.
Like, it literally actually feels like Lord of the Rings now from the trailer. And then you watch it and it's like, what?
Yeah.
Anyways.
All right. I like that.
So that's my opinion. So keep watching and enjoy. I'm gonna finish it. I will for sure. But
yeah, for sure, I will too. That's what it's like. It's a good watch, but it's not like amazing for me.
Yeah,
I'm not like, oh, this is so good. I'm just like watching it.
Like, okay,
I'm watching it because like I don't really have anything else to watch because I've watched basically everything. And 2, I was like, I know I should watch this. Okay, because like I do like Lord of the Rings. I'm not very knowledgeable on it. I just know like I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I liked watching it. So I was like, okay, surely this will be good. And I will say Prime Video has done a lot of shows very, very, very well.
They have so much money.
They have so many. They have a lot of like some of my favorite shows for sure. Yeah. And just shows that I love doing. So I was like, okay, surely it's going to be done pretty well. And like you said, like it has a lot of the cinematic stuff that you would like to see.
Oh yeah,
like that you love to see. It's a good watch. It's just for me, it can be kind of slow,
dude. Even that the pacing's bad. But if they had gotten Peter Jackson to direct that with that budget, the guy who made Lord of the Rings, The Hobbits, that show could have outdone the top show in the world is like Breaking Bad for the most watched or something. I don't remember. Something like that. Oh, it's really? Breaking Bad or Game of Thrones or something. It could have blown those out of the water if Peter Jackson. But did you hear that Warner Brothers announced that Peter Jackson's coming back to direct more Lord of the Rings films based in it?
Oh, like, really?
Dude, those things will break $1 billion easy.
Oh, yeah, that would.
He's coming back to the whole original team is coming back to make more movies.
That would be really cool.
So I'm really excited. I think the first one's gonna come out like 26 or 27. Kind of like when the Avengers were come out.
Yeah. I know next year is a big year for movies too.
Yeah, dude, next year's gonna be
a lot of big movies coming out.
I shouldn't say good ones because I haven't watched them yet, but I hope they're gonna. I thought Lord of Rings, Rings of Power was gonna be good.
Yeah, they should be good.
Hopefully, yeah. The studios that are making those usually do pretty good. I'm really excited for the Batman too.
I am too. Yeah,
comes out, I think December of 20 or October maybe. I don't. Yeah.
Yeah. Switching transition here.
That's a good sentence.
I know. Yeah. We really need a speech pathologist.
Please send us one.
Okay, so listen.
Disclaimer first.
Yeah. This is a warning.
Trigger warning.
Disclaimer. For the 5 people watching. Okay,
dude, stop hating on our watchers.
I'm not. I don't even know how many people watch.
I'll show you after.
Okay,
it's more than you think.
Okay, good. This is like it's definitely a sensitive topic. Yeah, and it's about like mass shootings and stuff, and so. You've heard us talk about before, like different conspiracies, and you've heard us talk about. I think we've talked about. I don't know if it was Sandy Hook or we talked about a couple other mass shootings before.
I don't remember. Yeah,
but this whole thing it's so tragic that people like actually lost their lives, and I want to bring up like the Vegas shooting because me and Levi watched this video on the Vegas shooting. It to me. Yeah. And I've seen a couple other things about the Vegas shooting as well, and things just don't add up. Like most mass shootings, like honestly, like if you really look into anything, like things just don't add up. And so like for the families that lost loved ones and the loved ones and all that kind of stuff, it's just super tragic. And I think this just goes to show that the government literally cares negative about any person's actual life. Yeah. And so this is a whole thing of like just trying to talk about how crazy the government actually is and just how deep everything goes. And so I feel like most people with a brain and with like common knowledge or common sense can like look at the news and be like, that's just not like the truth. Like,
it's so fabricated.
And so everything. And I feel like the older I get and just the more I'm looking into things and thankfully like how Elon is with Twitter and or X, and he's just all about free speech. Yeah, exactly. And honestly, TikTok, like I'm thinking, TikTok, I know like still probably does censor things, and you're not allowed to say some things, but there's a lot of things on there that talk about the government and like conspiracies, and so I watch.
And real quick, just to add to his point, It's factually proven that social media does this. Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg just wrote a letter to Congress saying that he apologizes and regrets that he worked with the Biden-Harris administration to censor information about COVID. He literally just said, like, we all knew it, and people called us crazy. And then he's like, I totally regret it. He's like, there's nothing we can do to take it back. He's like, but I feel so bad. And Mark Zuckerberg is interesting to me because he's kind of changing.
He is definitely changing. Cool. Yeah.
Even though I kind of think he may be a robot, but it's just things like that, like Facebook, Meta. So they own Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, and Instagram. Yeah.
They just admitted that stuff like that happens. Yeah. And we know that happens, but now there's actual proof. He sent a letter to Congress. But keep going about your point.
Yes. No. Okay. 100%. And that's the whole thing of like. Everything is so much deeper than what it actually seems like. And you can go back as far as you want to in history. Like, you just can't take whatever the government says. You just can't take that word for word. Like, you just... If you believe that, if you just believe that, you're just, like... It's just crazy. Like, you're basically just brainwashed. And you just have no free thinking. Kind of, and that's the thing that I feel like a lot of people are waking up to more free thinking. And you have a lot of people, just like Mark Zuckerberg. Like, he fell into the whole system of, we're just going to help brainwash people and, censor everything like communist countries do. And then he finally is just like,
forget this.
Waking up, like developing a brain almost. And so...
he's a robot. He's very,
very, very, he's like, very smart. Okay. But as far as just like, an advocate for like just a basic human right, to say what you want and to think.
Isn't that crazy that like you have to fight for that? Like just to say what's on your mind.
Pretty insane. And everything that's happening with the UK right now.
Yeah.
And I think it's Ireland. I can't remember. There's another.
Let's go. I lived in Ireland.
Yeah. There's another country that's like super heavy on censorship right now. And it's just kind of crazy. We know like Canada and especially like the UK.
Dude, Canada's a piece of mind.
It's just like it's crazy.
I was gonna say crap, by the way. Okay, I don't curse.
Okay, I don't think he was going to.
I've never cursed in my life.
That's fine.
That is true.
Pray for him.
Fact check me.
Please. You curse me all the time though.
That's so not true.
Yeah.
Prove it.
Every time you text me, whenever we're not on camera.
Pull your text right now.
It's just explicitives. I can't show it. There's no way we'd have to blur out the whole entire text. Okay. So anyways.
You're censoring me.
Okay.
He's gaslighting me.
I am, baby.
He's literally Meta 2 years ago.
I am Mark.
All right, tell me go into your point with the shooting.
So listen. Everything is so much deeper than what it makes it seem like. Like the surface, there's just like, it's basically like an iceberg.
Tip of the iceberg.
Okay. Tip of the iceberg, basically. Like there's just so much more underneath the surface than what you really think of. And so this video that me and Levi watched, it talked about the Las Vegas mass shooting. And I forget how many, like 70 some or more than that. Like so many people lost their lives that day.
Dude,
and so what the media told you was... So, the concert was in this big, huge parking lot. And then, was it the MGM? Or I forget what casino it was or hotel that they said the mass shooter, he just had, like thousands and thousands of rounds with a few guns. And he just
opened
fire. So after that, it took the police over an hour. Right? Over an hour to get to...
It's like the Trump shooting. How botched was that?
Yeah. And so listen, so there was supposedly just one shooter taking out, 70, 80, however many it was, so many lives. And then he just decided he was going to be done with it and then shot himself. And I hope that we can say that.
Joe Rogan can say whatever he wants. And this goes on Spotify, so...
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He won a court case
and
against
so,
him.
This person shot himself, and so it took over an hour for the police to get there.
Yeah.
And then, so this guy in this video went through, and someone else had previously done this. This guy was just looking at this Google Maps image.
Okay.
That someone personally logged every single 911 call within the time frame of the shooting. In the whole entire like Las Vegas area, like in that tiny little strip.
Okay,
part.
real quick, if we can, I'm gonna get that video and link it if we can in the show notes on Spotify and on YouTube, so you guys can watch what we're saying. Yeah. So you guys can also see like they're not just conspiracy theories. There's a lot of real. Anyways, I'm gonna put that in the links if I can.
Yeah, I think that's really good. And so this guy was just showing you. Like he would go over, and he didn't go over all of them because you couldn't. There was,
like hundreds of things.
Probably at least 100. Yeah, like 911 calls within the time frame of the shooting, all from different spots too, of saying, hey, that we heard shots over here. We heard shots half a mile, down the block at a different casino. We heard shots a half a mile further from another casino.
Right.
And so like.
Or like in the hotel, the reports of people in the hotel like saying they heard shots from different.
Yes, in the hotel, and there was people reporting they saw a guy with like guns. I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
Before the shooting even happened,
an hour before
and nothing.
Something?
Yeah,
no one did anything.
Nothing happened. No one did anything. Then there was like this helicopter place. That was like kind of close. Yes, and so this specific helicopter had some whatever helicopter it was. It like helps you fly like very quietly,
almost silent. Yeah,
basically no lights, no nothing. Their track and log record of like their flight record like showed them hovering over the mass crowd of the concert. I think it was like 15 or 10 minutes before for like several minutes.
Right.
And like nothing. And so it's just like very suspicious. Like no one would ever do this. And so like what I'm saying is
there's so many details.
So many details. There's so much stuff that just no one even questions because the media will obviously never ever cover it.
They tell you what the government wants.
Exactly. And so like it's so sad because there's so many more people involved than obviously just the one lone shooter that they want to pin it on. Right. And so it's the government, it's a lot of other, I think, organizations too. That
he mentioned like, Saudi Arabia might have been like involved with it.
Yeah, there was just so much evidence of so much just basically crap that's going on. And it's all, I don't know why. Like there's obviously something deeper. And I know, listen, some other very suspicious deaths have happened with a lot of other quote accidents, whether if it's an explosion, the whole submarine thing with all the super smart people.
Right.
So like if you have very high intellectual people or someone who's, getting onto, maybe something that the government doesn't want someone getting onto, they'll just make it look like an accident and they don't care who else that they kill in it to make it look like, oh, this is a mass shooting with this guy, and I honestly...
Okay, so I'll say this. I think I have a couple theories. I think one of the things is there's often maybe a target and they cover it up by...
Right.
Because then
like what I was saying.
Like he's assassinated.
Yeah, exactly.
Like what you're saying, yeah.
Exactly.
But also, I will say this, and this sounds like really like, he's just a conservative talking about guns, okay? But I will say, you can look at the Democratic agenda, okay? They want to remove assault weapons. They want to de-arm the citizens. Because, with censorship, once you de-arm the people, this is what communist countries do. So go study communist countries, and this is what they're trying to do in America to be able to fully control the people. Like, that, it sounds like a conspiracy theory, but, like, it's so real now that, like, it's, like, obvious. You can literally see it.
In history, everyone who was a conspiracy theorist was just crazy, and then as time goes on, everyone's like, oh, that conspiracy was right. That was right. Yeah. That was right. Yeah. That was
Conspiracy theories are just people who challenge the government. But anyways, so I think there's a big part of it because it's always these automatic or semi-automatic weapons. They're like, see, it's the guns. It's the guns. It's like, no, you idiot. The guns don't shoot themselves. It's the person. It's like in Ireland. Like they're like, all right, we're gonna ban guns. No one can have guns. Guess what? People kill people all the time with hatchets and knives and like there's so much violent murder over there. The people that are evil are always going to find a way to kill other people. You can make homemade bombs with like bleach and stuff. Like, I don't know. I'm just saying that there's an agenda to remove like semi-automatic weapons and things like that. Like,
right. And that's obvious. That's like an obvious one too.
Right.
And so I'm not even talking about that. Like that is very obvious because
I think that's a part of it though. Because they're like,
for sure.
Look, it's the guns killing people. It's like, nope, it's the person. Like, do guns shoot themselves?
Yeah.
They do? It's just so stupid.
The guns
like,
that I have, because
that's not logical. It's just, I don't understand why people in our society don't use logic. Like the most basic like function thinking. Like, hey, let's just think about this. Okay, a gun is a tool, right? It can be used for good or bad. But let's ban the guns because it's obviously the gun's fault. It's not the person. Let's get them mental health. Like let's help them with their mental health. Let's do things like that actually help people. And by the way, you're never going to, until Christ comes back, you're never going to eradicate evil. Okay. That's the bad things are going to happen. That's just part of a broken world.
Right. And things are going to get worse.
The good people need the guns. The police need the guns to shoot that. Like I need a gun. So if some weird psychopath breaks into my house and tries to kill my girls, I'm going to kill him. Like Spotify's probably going to demonetize it. Anyways, I don't know. That's like a rant, but it just makes me so mad that people don't think in our society. They're just like, okay, must ban the guns. That'll solve the problem.
Yeah, it's that's another just going back to like free thinking. Free thinking is just out of the picture for so many people. Yeah, it's getting a lot better. But it is for people, like, that's the thing that's crazy is how wild and how deep everything is, because the government can just keep doing things and doing things and doing things. And there's just like no repercussions at all. Like, it's because it goes so deep. And this is like, I don't even think this is a conspiracy. I think everyone knows it, but like, it's just hard to put a finger on it because the organization and like the whole system is so corrupt. Like, okay, like it's happened several times before. Like, okay, here's a judge. Let's have him. If he rules against the government, then they're just going to kick him out, you know, completely, like
Scalia,
ban
killed him.
Exactly. And then we're just going to bring a judge in that's on our payroll, and then he's going to, you know, make
like the mafia,
make the decisions that we want him to make. And so, like, basically, like, it goes so deep, and that's the thing that it's so sad is people will go so far, and the government will go so far, and organizations will go so far to get rid of just something that they don't like, that they'll kill 70, 80 people that have families, you know, moms and dads and kids. Exactly. There's no regard for life and, you know, respect for life, and there's no love for life, honestly. And that's the thing that's just sad. And that's why I think it gets us so fired up. And like just watching this video about the Vegas shooting, like it just made me so upset also, and so sad, because there's just no regard for the human life. Yeah. Exactly. And so as Christians, it's just like,
it makes you angry.
It does, like, in a way, and it just makes you so incredibly sad, because you just never know, like, their life just got taken because of evil in the world. And like, as Christians, it should just drive us to love people, to be more bold and be more open about sharing Jesus, and also like just being able to speak out, you know, and try to raise awareness.
We need to raise awareness.
We need to raise awareness on different things, and that's what I like about how social media is getting more.
Right.
You know,
and that's why you listen to this podcast, because
exactly,
we're definitely gonna help spread the truth.
Yeah, we're gonna spread the gospel.
We actually are.
Yeah, the truth.
Repent and believe in Jesus Christ.
Amen, brother.
Amen, brother.
I'm gonna pray for him after this. That way, he doesn't send me explicitives anymore.
True. Your prayers won't work on me because I never sent them. Ding dong.
Okay. I'll bring receipts.
Hey, is ding dong derogatory?
Curse? Probably.
No, not curse. That's not a curse.
No, that's definitely curse.
Word.
I take it as a curse word.
Okay, I don't really.
My interpretation's right.
I don't care what you take it as. You know, the things he says to me. Yeah. Bro, this guy. If I told you,
I only say positive things.
Okay, you know, like how was it John who said if there's not a book big enough in all the world to write down with the good things that Jesus did.
Yeah.
There's not a book big enough in the world to talk about what Micah has done.
All the good things that I've said about
they're not good.
Yeah,
only Jesus is good. Remember?
That's so true.
Remember that in the Bible? Remember how he's the only one that's good?
Yeah.
You know what's so funny?
You did say that.
How people, like, this is just random thought, but they're like, see, when Jesus goes, why you call me a good teacher? Only the Father is good, or only God is good?
Yeah.
Like, see, he's not saying that he's God. It's like, no, he's saying, why you call me a good teacher? Like, I'm not just the teacher. This is a whole big theological thing. I shouldn't get into it right now because we're about to end.
Oh, yeah. Next podcast, we're talking about it.
Jesus is God, by the way. I could prove it, like, with 100 verses.
Yes.
Old and New Testament. Anybody who wants to challenge me, do it. I will destroy you with the Bible.
Come back.
That's probably the wrong heart to have.
Come back for episode 8. Okay. Where Levi's going to destroy people.
Yeah, obliterate. Obliterate minds.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks for coming to the podcast.
Thank you.
Remember to subscribe, and what else?
Oh, yeah, subscribe.
Follow us on what?
Oh, and just Venmo us if you want to, just for fun.
Put my Cash App on there.
Yeah, you can Venmo me whatever.
Dude, look how puffy my eyes are.
Yeah, it's just because you look a little bit.
Sexy.
Yeah, you just look retarded.